Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am the Sam. The bean's bouncing around as he does. I don't know exactly he's doing, but it involves sharks and running, so I'm sure it's very important. Today we're talking about the Adobe Revival, which has also been called Pueblo Revival. This home style is popular in southwestern United States. I am a little newer to this style, so if I make any mistakes, don't hesitate to correct me in the comments below. And if you want to see where I got all of my resources for this, those are all collected in a Pinterest board, which is linked in the description of this video. We're building a 2-story 4-bedroom today. This could be as small as a 1-story 1-bedroom, all the way up to 3 stories and bedrooms upon bedrooms. Multifamily living is definitely an option here. There will pretty much always be a small balcony or courtyard-like entry, as well as a courtyard toward the middle of the build or at the back if it's a smaller build like we have today. The exterior of the build will always be Adobe. The mud brick construction style is excellent for the desert as it really keeps the heat out and cool air in. Speaking of the desert, you'll notice that a lot of these windows are quite small. The majority of your windows will be in the kitchen and living area, and smaller windows will be in the bedroom area. I'm super excited to go through this build with you guys. Hopefully you are ready, so open up your game and let's get started. I am building on Pebble Burrow, which is a 20 by 30 lot in Oasis Springs. However, the end footprint of this build would fit on a 15 by 20. I just picked this lot because it was already empty. Let's start with a couple of rectangles, as usual, and then we'll break those up into a floor plan. Going to start with a 5 by 8 rectangle over here, which will be our kitchen and dining. And then we're going to copy that and offset it by 2 tiles here. Pull it in one to make a 5 by 7 rectangle. This will be our living room. And then we'll make, starting 2 tiles in from here, a 5 by 11 rectangle. This will be our bedrooms and bathroom. Now, right here, I'm going to do a little 2 by 3 rectangle, as well as add a wall here and here. Now this will be our first bedroom, second bedroom, and a bathroom, and we'll do 2 more bedrooms upstairs. I'll add another wall here, and then remove this wall, and this wall, which you can do easily by using the wall tool and then holding control. Now up top, we're going to start here and draw an 8 by 7 rectangle. Second stories are usually stepped in quite a bit from the floor below them. And we're going to divide this space into 2 more bedrooms, like that. I'm going to grab a flat square and make a little sort of front courtyard here, as well as put one on the back. If this were a larger build, you would probably have a courtyard toward the middle of your build as well, and sort of have kitchen and living and some bedrooms sort of surrounding it. However, this isn't a very large build, so I am just going to have one on the front and one on the back. I'm also going to open up this main entry area, and now we're going to move on to placing half walls. Half walls can be found here. We're going to start with this one and place it right there. This way we can actually add our doors. I'm going to be using the Mega Double Doors Deluxe, and sort of have an open entry, which I think is kind of cool. And then place some window doors there to let some light inside. Upstairs, I want some areas of the roof to be accessible and some to not be. Everywhere I want to be accessible, I'll be using the short half wall 1.0, which is the 4th option in, to just draw a couple little areas off the bedrooms. And anywhere I don't want to be accessible, I'm going to be using the tiny half wall to close those areas off. Personally, I like to raise these areas by 1 as well. I just think it adds a little extra depth. And then up top as well. For these areas of roof, I like to use the barely concrete with the sort of yellowish option. It's the best option I found in the base game. But then for all the livable areas, I will be using tile. I like this one, but there are a lot of tile options in the base game. And I mean everywhere. So there's the basic shell. This could be larger or smaller, but you're pretty much always going to have a lot of right angles. The roofs will be flat with a small wall surrounding them. You'll have open courtyard areas on multiple levels, and the second level will pretty much always be pushed back from at least 1 or 2 sides of the build. Here we're kind of pushed back on the front and the left and right sides, flush in some areas, and of course we have this balcony here. And of course, possibly the most iconic part of this build is the Adobe exterior. Now if you type in Adobe, we don't actually have any options like that. What I tend to use is this unbent smoothness in a beige tone, and that will be everywhere inside and out. Of course, this is The Sims 4. You could make this build whatever color you want, but you know me, the nerd, doing it as authentically as I possibly can, bringing real life into a video game. The stairs will fit just fine right here, going right up into that second story where I have the 2 bedrooms and additional living space. And now let's talk about windows. Not only is this super base game friendly, but if you just type in Mega, this pretty much sums up what you're going to be using for this build. If you want it to look a little more modern, then you could use these more modern square windows, but I'm going to stick with the Mega because then everything will match. Once again, I have F5 turned on for exact placement, and I'm going to start with placing these larger windows in the kitchen and dining area, with slightly less light going in other places. So I'll be using these smaller windows elsewhere in the build. I'll have 1 extra window going into the living room, but that will also get light from these doors. I will give this bedroom a couple of windows, this front bedroom a couple of windows, and 1 window right in the middle where the bathroom is. Right there. Upstairs, similar deal. I'm going to put a window here, and then same on the back, to let a little bit of light into the living spaces and the bedrooms, and then add this mega door as well. You're going to be using a lot of natural materials and natural tones, so lots of woods and clays and textures and colors like that. So I'm going to be using the escargot counter, although obviously if you were in a bit of a budget build, you'd probably just go for a beige Blandco contemporary counter. I'm going to go with an L and peninsula here. If I turn on the grid, you can see I'm going to leave about 1.5 tiles in the kitchen here. The fridge will fit over here quite nicely, as well as a trash can. We can add a stove and a sink, and then this is plenty of space for dining as well. Once again, when in doubt for decorating the inside, for this particular style, Mega is going to work great. We'll just grab our Mega table and some Mega chairs, and there we go. If you want to add a fireplace, most fireplaces will be on a diagonal. You can add a 1 tile diagonal wall and turn on move objects to place a fireplace in the corner like this. Or without move objects on, you would have to draw 2 tiles to be able to place the same thing. To turn on move objects, hit Ctrl-Shift-C, type in bb.moveobjects, hit enter, and I already had it turned on, so I just turned it off, but you'll get that confirmation code. So it should say move objects cheat is on. If you don't get the confirmation, retype it or try typing bb.moveobjects on, and then that should work. Before we finish up the outside, I just want to remind you that if you've enjoyed this series, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to let me know by leaving a like. And if we can hit 500 subscribers by the end of the month, I'll be carrying through this series over into January. Also, if you want more inspiration photos, or if you want to learn more about how I learned about this style, all of those links are collected in a Pinterest board, which is in the description of this video, along with tons of other stuff for you to click on. The first thing I want to address is what to do for the edge of our little courtyards here. My go-to would be half walls, because then I can match the texture from our build, but this Mega Fence Budget Delight is also a great option, and it matches pretty decently. Plus, then you get these cute little columns. You'll also want to use the fence if you decide to grab any sort of gate. Whatever you put up front, you'll want to put in the back as well. This could be completely closed off, you could have a fence, you could make it deeper and add a pool. This would be a great place to add some planter boxes up close to the house though, so they don't get too scorched by the sun, which of course doesn't matter, but I care. Or if you wanted to add a secondary staircase and possibly have the upper floor be sort of like an in-laws apartment, this would be a good place to add that as well. The last thing to do to the house before we add plants is to add these guys, the Mega Wall Hunk. Due to the construction style of the Adobe Homes and Adobe Revival, Pueblo Revival, which I really hope I'm saying right, I think I am, there will be a lot of exposed beams, so pick a direction that you think your beams want to go. I'm going to be picking this direction, and then place them about once every tile. I'm placing them on the half tile mark because I think that looks better, and you can hold shift while you're placing them so that you don't have to re-click every time. I'm moving the grid between floors by holding shift and page down and page up. I want to make sure I'm placing these all at the same height. So what I'm doing is placing it just 1 tick below where it would float up to the next floor. And doing that on all of the front and back walls. You could also do this on the side to side walls. Again, you just sort of pick a direction and place them there. Alright, we are almost done. The last thing to discuss is plants. These homes really focus on living sustainably and using the materials around you, and since one of the materials that's not really available in the desert is water, Landscaping will use a lot of gravel, rocks, and some desert hardy plants. So I could paint some pebbles here, and of course a little bit of a path as well. Grab some nice desert colored rocks, which you can scale up and down by using the bracket keys. And then add a few of the plants from the world around, like this agave plant, some succulents, which can also be sized up and down, and maybe even a cactus if I'm feeling prickly. Because I can't not, I'm going to add some terrain paint as well around the foundations and everything. Typically, if I'm building in a grassy area, I'll use some muddy looking colors, but because we're in the desert, I want to use something more sandy. I think I'll use this scorched earth, of course moving my softness up a bit, and then just using that to sort of blend in the edges along the end of my path and around the edge of my fences, walls, and any foundation. Of course, saying foundation, these homes aren't typically built up on a foundation, although if they are, it's going to be pretty low, and you'll want to use some foundation edges like this that will sort of blend that Adobe texture down. And those are the basics of creating an Adobe Revival home in The Sims 4. You can build these homes to be anywhere from 1 bedroom all the way up to really whatever will fit on your lot. They don't typically go taller than 2 or 3 stories, and those upper stories are always stepped back a bit from the other sides of the build. The roofs will be flat with a little bit of a raised wall around them, and you're pretty much always going to see some of these exposed beams. Open courtyards are a staple, and in a larger home they'll be located at the center of the build as well as the front, back, and potentially sides. If you enjoyed building along today, please let me know by leaving a like, and don't forget to leave any suggestions, questions, or corrections in the comments below. The top card over here is a playlist of all of these tutorials that I'm doing this month, and the bottom card is a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. They're usually right, so I feel like it's a pretty safe bet either way. Whether you followed along exactly or just sort of built something all on your own, I'd love to see it. You can tag me on any of the socials linked down below, or this build will be on the gallery if you want to take a closer look. You can comment there if you built something and uploaded it, and I would love to take a look. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here again tomorrow. Bye!